All right, we'll call this meeting to order. While I'm here, Councilmember Evans is here, Councilmember Watson is here. Go to reports and presentations. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say business is good in HR. We've been having a lot of recruitment. One is filled and a new one opens up. So as you can see, we have quite a few recruitments going on right now. The 2 police officers are in the background right now for our laterals. So hopefully they're replacing 2 of our officers that will be retiring, one at the end of February and March. The HR generalist, it's going to be closing here in a couple of days, and we've had 181 hits on it, meaning doing it, and 14 applications. Giving it a quick review, I'd say not all 14 are going to be qualified. The emergency management coordinator, we've got that posted. Right now, here again, we only have 172 people looking at it. 5 have actually applied. A lot of them are from out of state. What I was kind of surprised by was the construction inspector.
Who does that report to?
Oh, I think it's
okay.
John. We've actually had 483 people look at it and 13 applications.
That's for the construction inspector?
And our administrative services department, actually we have another person that I've been talking to. The conditional offer, I'm going to be starting on her background checks tomorrow, her reference checks. So hopefully we'll get that one filled by the end of the month. So we'll have both vacancies filled in that. The meter reader is an internal only. The youth sports officials, we have 2 that will be coming on. The before and after program assistants are still continuous. Senior services assistant, we had some really good applications on that, and we are ready to make an offer to someone. Okay. So that'll be filled. Oh, the building inspector, Ryan, I think we're still waiting on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that will be being posted real soon. Kind of internal promotion. And then also, I just got a notice that we're going to have another maintenance worker vacancy.
About that this afternoon.
Is that lateral or is he retiring?
Going to another position at another city.
Like today's discussion, yeah.
So that's where we are so far.
So question, we used to, when Melissa was down there or Leslie, would they post on Facebook about job openings? Are we doing that? Because I usually repost those stuff. Within the city, is anyone doing that? I haven't seen them.
Yeah, with Leslie being out, I don't.
Yeah,
no.
Melissa usually sent
that's
out.
Another good source.
But yeah, because Justin's really good about that, and so do I all the time.
Okay.
We post what you guys do.
I have a question. Person who currently.
Yes, she has applied.
Good.
Yeah, very glad to see that. Okay, so Facebook posting.
Good job, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to business and action items. 018, renewal of the ILA with Sumner Bonney Lake School District for the Sumner Family Center.
Yeah, so since 2007, we provided funding to the now Sumner Bonney Lake School District Family Center down there in Sumner. It's up to $12,000 a year. The terms of the interlocal agreement say that the MO needs to be reviewed annually. However, with COVID and everything that was happening with Mary Lee Hill Anderson, some of the issues she had going on, we didn't renew it for 2021. So this is a two-year renewal for 2021 and 2024.
Jumping ahead there.
Jumping ahead a little bit. 2022 for a total of $24,000 or $12,000 each year. We do budget for that. However, that money didn't roll over, so that's why it shows a negative balance of $11,000 in the line item February to 2022.
Where's Family Center located?
Family Center is down
Directly across the street from the high school
building.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, from the high school. Across Main Street. It's on the south side of Main Street.
No, it's not.
It's not?
Moved there. Moved a couple years back behind the high school. I've done a school over there because I've been to delivering things.
Oh, okay.
The school being Daffodil over there?
Yeah, that's Daffodil right there where,
Yeah, Daffodil's where I went to now. I could be mistaken. That's where they were doing all the back to school stuff.
Oh,
They
okay.
moved on. I could be wrong, Justin.
Okay.
I've been the one you talked about.
Yeah,
I
that
think,
was,
I
that
think
was
they moved
okay.
Daffodil.
Sumner.
There's Sumner.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice. Uh,
And you'll see the
No.
superintendent already signed.
I know where they are, because I
Right.
take the landscape stuff there. So when the school that's by 410, when you get off the freeway, they're in Sumner.
Oh,
There's a
Maple
school.
Lawn, yeah.
Maple Lawn.
Oh,
So you have to go into Maple Lawn, just past it, there's some portables there. They're in the front portable.
Oh, okay.
That's where they are. That's-
everybody's good with that?
I'm
Let's
good
go
with
to
that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Consent,
Okay with consent.
yeah. Approval of meeting notes?
I have two corrections.
Okay.
Here.
Open discussion.
Uh,
Oh,
There
sorry.
was the other eight.
Okay.
Yeah, the employment.
Oh, yeah,
agreement.
I just wrote it in underneath
Oh.
that, but that's fine. We can do that now. Yeah, you want to do that?
Yeah, so on, Mayor, I don't know if you want to speak to the employment agreement or,
Since we had the latest changes today on it, why don't you speak on it? Because I think you and Sherry probably understand it a little better than I can. I do, so.
no, this
Get a
is the
better
employment
discussion.
agreement with the chief.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We can speak to that. And it's one of the reasons why I'm here. And it being that we do have an employment agreement on the table to raise our chief's salary to be commensurate with the Sumner Police Department's chief. Apparently, they've had a raise across the board, and the Sumner Police Department, who he supervises a police force for a city of 7,500 people. Up here, we have 23,000 people, and there was a significant difference between Chief your salary and what Sumner was making. In that regard, and since this is a public safety issue in my mind, and I believe now that we're on the right on the verge of doing the body cam training, is that how far we are?
Supposed to begin in the first part of March.
Exactly, and I believe that is a very relevant issue that I believe I would prefer our chief handling it as opposed to somebody that he'd be getting new. Plus the common sense notion that if the chief does depart and we would have to hire at the salary that we're proposing anyway. Or we put together this interlocal agreement with the chief to on a contract basis through the end of the year. And given all of those factors, especially the public safety factor, I would be asking that it improve on. Oh, yeah.
So, thank you. I don't know
Councilmember
who's in charge
Watson.
here tonight. So,
Open.
he knows I support him 100%, and he does a fantastic job.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's fair or right for us to give him a raise and not give other people throughout the city that are in the same position. With my understanding, when I received today about, there's other people that are off also. I think the rest of I think it's unfair for, he deserves a raise, but so do other people in our city too.
Oh, I
But
thoroughly
giving one
agree.
person a raise and not doing the other one at the same time,
One of the reasons why it was brought up like this was due to public safety issues. However, this issue was brought up earlier in the week. We have addressed it, and I believe it will be brought up later on in the meeting. Is that right?
I've got it.
So
I've
it's,
got it here.
that's where the confusion came. That was happening, because I believe if we do it and get to step 4 as opposed to step 3, that would actually satisfy our issue with chief anyway.
Well, this would just, if we did this, if we did this
Yeah,
that you have, that would give him just about the raise that rate here,
exactly.
what he's looking for. And would give us in position to be able to hire somebody at the end of the year at the correct wages, along with the rest of our associates in the city that are in the same position. Keep them without resigning and going for their higher wages and stuff too.
Yeah. No, I'm
So
absolutely.
is that
agreeing
possible
with you.
to possibly not do this, is my thought, and to push this along? And then back pay him on that? once we get this through?
Jerry sent out that salary survey, but
Right.
I know it's not on our agenda per se, but
Yeah,
it might
but-
have been an open discussion.
Right.
Right.
But that's kind of where I'm
I
talking.
can certainly speak to it now if you like.
Why don't we? That'll be good.
Okay.
Go for it.
So, yeah. So I think most everybody understands where this originated. We were working towards doing a salary compensation study with an external party, but that was going to take us until about June to process. And, you know, time is of the essence. We keep losing people. And so I had a couple people reach out to me and say, where are we at? So I put this together. I gave you a couple options, working with John and Debbie and the mayor on review. The options, as I see it, you could proceed and use Sumner's data. I have not evaluated Sumner's data for, you know, to make sure that they did their process correctly. I just took our people and plugged them into their work, what they've already done. The other option that I've presented was the 6.45% increase, which would be the difference between CPIU and what the non-reps have received over the last 10 years. I think everybody received the memo. I'm pretty sure you probably all had a chance to look it over. I can certainly answer specific questions.
So I had a question on, I guess, the difference between the Sumner deal of each position versus just the 6.45%
Yeah.
overall deal. What, I guess, if you were to do, you know, one or the other, what's the difference as far as percentage-wise?
So when I looked at where we sat, you know.
Hello?
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 Joanna, can you mute yourself, please?
I'll try.
Whoever's our moderator, can you mute Joanna? Whether that's Debbie, thank you. Okay. So, you know, I didn't have a lot of time to go through it, so I did a quick down and dirty, what's our difference here? They range anywhere from 5% to 16%. So I wanted to give you both options.
So the last page of the document, if you printed it off in color, we have all of our positions. As Sherry said, she worked to plug those in commensurate with the Sumner. So the third and fourth columns are the current minimums and maximums in our non-represented salary table. The far right two columns, 5 and 6, are the equivalent Sumner minimum and maximum.
This is all, I like what Sumner did. Does anyone know how successful they've been with it?
That, you know, they did it in October. I haven't, I know their assistant city engineer, Jason Van Gilder, just left. I don't even know if that's on the screen.
It is.
Oh, it is.
It is.
Yeah, they have recruitment issues. Nobody's applying.
Just to give you an idea with that one, they're actually offering a hiring bonus plus 40 hours of vacation
Management leave.
management. Getting creative down there to train.
All over.
And the management leave is another thing that Debbie and I had talked about. It's not presented in here because we didn't do total compensation, but that's another thing that you can certainly do. A lot of cities have gotten on board with, Debbie and I chatted about this earlier, 80 hours for department heads and 40 hours for managers.
I think we need to be creative, as Sumner is doing. It might be, I don't know if it's just a little bit early for this to see an effect from Sumner as far as what they're doing or not, though.
Well, She's losing, we're losing so many
Right.
because of payroll. Lost today. Every time I see Debbie, they're getting paid someplace else.
More names. I
So
know.
the longer we sit and dilly-dally about this,
Yeah.
more people are going to lose.
Yeah.
But this isn't a guarantee that we're going to do anything. Everyone's going to get more money, but that doesn't mean that we're going to solve recruiting issues.
So how should we
No,
solve
but
it?
it's a help. Right?
It
Yeah.
is a
Yeah,
help,
it's a
but
help.
it's a
How many-
retention thing. It's not necessarily a recruiting
Look how many
thing.
hits she had on a couple of positions we talked about today, and 14 applied or whatever. That's the indication that they're looking at, but it's not enough money for them.
One.
Sherry, if we were to do this, what kind of hit would the budget take? Because it'll take a hit. So
Yeah. So I was going to figure out how much the 6.45 would cost us, and I haven't quite gotten that number yet. But the other one, salary-wise, if you implemented the Sumner version, it's about $275,000.
So the monthly amount that we brought forward for the chief, where do we get the number from?
Yeah.
Well, that's the
Oh,
Sumner
that's-
number.
That's not what his number is, okay.
So Sumner took a different approach in that for the city administrator, the police chief, and the department heads, they just have a maximum, or they have a set number instead of having a range. And then when you get down to what they call deputy directors and managers, they have the more traditional salary range. But yeah, that 15,912 is what the Sumner police chief currently gets. And that was the plug number for the employment agreement.
Well, I think this is fine, as long as we do figure a way to make this work. If this gets on the street, we're doing this and nothing over here, that's gonna be a problem for us.
It would be a problem, and one of the things that are really trying to do is stop the police.
Yeah.
We're getting to a critical position in some of our major departments.
I'm all in favor of this, and I'm all in favor of retention. However, and this isn't necessarily a financial issue, but a lot of people were leaving, and it wasn't necessarily a financial issue. So while this may stop some others, there's still some other things I think that need to be addressed. I don't think this is a end all be all. Hey, we're solid now.
Well, Debbie is as a part of all of the other duties that she exit interview package that we're going to be able to look at to see to try to put together what the
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I also think the benefit package needs to be looked at, compared to some of our other comp cities.
We haven't done
There's
this
some things that
forever, yeah.
there's some things that can be done that, what we call the low hanging fruit that really are gonna cost a lot. Then there's some that maybe is completely different, something new here that maybe we haven't looked at before. So I would think that would be something as well that could be looked at.
And it will be a recruitment issue, in the very near future. It's no secret that John Woodcock, our city engineer, has said April, May-ish, and the Sumner assistant city engineer is constituted now, makes more than our city engineer. And so we're going to have difficulties recruiting for that position. We have Steven Streets that is, any day now that falls on this chart as one of our assistant superintendents. There's any number of people that will be leaving in the fairly near future, and we'll have to be recruiting for.
One challenge.
Yeah.
And I think the applicant pool is shrinking.
People aren't working anymore, yeah.
The retirement, the time when somebody stayed someplace forever isn't there either. So what is it that attracts people?
The benefits would be very helpful.
Well, and just a side note, I have a very good friend that was community development director in SWIM. My wife heard from his wife they moved to Arizona. I'm like, oh, when you moving down to Arizona to be with your wife? He goes, I've been telecommuting for 3 months. So, he's been in Arizona telecommuting full time for a job up in SWIM.
Well, look at Mary, she's a good
Mary.
example.
Yeah, one of my friends, she's a state auditor for Georgia.
Yeah.
Well,
She lives around the corner from me.
yeah. If it's Georgia, I would be up here too.
Well, and Sherry's a good indication. She's done very excellent for us from home. And the staff is thrilled working with her. online and stuff. I talked to them today a little bit. That shows you how some of these things we maybe will consider.
Oh, we
thinking about.
we even addressed it less than an hour ago. We didn't talk about it, but it is on.
In the past, you think you can't do that with your staff, but Sherry has shown that she can do that, and we should do that with like yourself and stuff because you're driving the.
Well, I believe I believe I got this data from somebody in this about how that has shown to productivity of the telecommuting.
Oh, Sherry told me how much she gets done from home. You know, even though she maybe BS.
I do want to come in on Tuesdays when I can to see you guys again.
Be nice to see you. If you have legs or something, you know.
It would be nice to see you guys. Yeah.
What would be the more appropriate thing to move forward the Sumner salary thing, and in lieu of an individual one with chief, because that if that moved forward, that resolves yours, right?
Yeah.
I'm
We're all talking about
gonna make you do
chief.
that, but that's right. I just want everybody to know this was not a selfish. Actually, the was that we bring some of this forward first, and I know I've talked to both of you two about this. Mayor, I think it's no secret. And he said he would like to keep. And I'm starting to look for employment outside. I look at what Sumner's chief is making. I look what I'm making. It doesn't make sense for me to stay here. I would love to stay, and I would love to be here for the next year and contribute. And then when I heard that the salary survey was going to take until June, that's when I talked to the mayor and said, you know, I would love to stick around, but I need something. My plan is to be done at the end of the year or shortly thereafter. So that's why this came forward for me specifically. And I talked to Ryan about it. Again, it's not to be selfish. Like I said, I'm the one that wanted this Sumner salary survey because you can see that it's 6.45 or whatever that the non-reps have not gotten COLAs that our represented folks have, and after time, that equals compression.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why, honestly, the assistant chiefs are looking to unionize because of that. Right now, our top sergeant is going to be bumping right up at the bottom of them without any overtime. So again, we've kind of not looked at this issue closely, and to be competitive and if you want somebody with experience, as the mayor said, you're going to have to pay what the market bears. And it would be difficult to recruit for my position if you want somebody with experience at a salary that's $20,000 less. Same with Ryan, same with John. If you want somebody with experience, that's why I'm willing to stay longer than I had planned. But again, I have to think of my future too. And I mean, we all know I'm not going to be here forever. I thoroughly enjoy the city. I'm thankful for everything that you all have done for me and my family. You've treated me very well in my 21 years here with the city. So I just wanted it to be known that this wasn't some selfish move on my part to cut out my department directors. It was done initially to try to get everybody up to par. But it's just, I think the timing for me is I'm closer to the end than most of these folks. So it was important for me as I plan my future to know what that future is going to be. That is the reason that I had the conversation with Mayor McCullough and John. So again, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that this wasn't a selfish move on my part.
John, how did we get so far off that every time we do a salary with the union stuff, we're always doing non-reps and we're saying, okay, we'll get done this. So it seemed like I've always moved them up the same amount. How come we're so far? Seem to be so far.
I don't know, Debbie.
We're not.
No, and I think part
So when I did, sorry.
the salary increases, so the represented are getting 4%, the non-reps are getting 3%.
I thought we were.
They're actually not that far. No, you're right, Tom. You're right. And John actually has that spreadsheet. The 645 comes from CPI. We're 6.45% of CPI over the 10 years, not over the AFSCME. AFSCME, I think John has that number. I think it's 3% that they got more than we did overall the last however many years you had that, John.
I believe so, yeah. Since 2007.
He's over here, John.
2007.
He's talking to the screen up there, she's over here.
And I know that in the
No, I actually can see him looking at me on the screen better.
the police department non-reps have traditionally at least got 0.5 or more less than what our representatives. This last go around, January of 2022, got 2.5, and they got 3. Same thing with. There's a full percent just in the police department. So again, you can see how that compression happened. Appreciate the council taking a look at this. It is expensive to recruit, train. But he leaves, you lose all that institutional.
Lost a lot of experience in the city, yeah. But what do you think about this, Mayor, if we went this direction?
Oh, I'm in total agreement with it.
Okay. Trying to make it.
I can tell you Chief Jeter's a master negotiator
Oh.
too. I mean, we sat down and we were going down and dirty at it. I gave him an offer and he goes, I'll take less.
Well,
So,
you know, I can't speak highly enough for him because the staff loves him.
Mhm.
And ever since he came to the force, they've gotten more things done, more things accomplished, and they're so happy there. So it makes a big difference, especially in that department, to be dealing with criminals all day long and stuff. So they need
Exactly.
someone that's supporting in the field, helping them and stuff. So,
well, part of
I
my,
would-
and I'm sorry.
and I would go ahead, I would like to just go ahead and do this. And
Yeah.
if we have a time frame, we could back pay the school a bit to make sure we're being fair to him too.
No, I'm in complete agreement.
We've looked at that and
So
Catherine, there's a constitutional issue.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to be March 1st. It has to be prospective.
Okay.
Okay.
So if we were to do this, you know, the path forward would be an ordinance amending that non-rep ordinance we did in October. You know, adopting this. with the new
Yeah.
salary.
You guys think?
I'm okay with that. And
Expensive, but
yeah, it is, but it has to be done. We have to start helping here, with something. I think this is the appropriate place to start. And then there's other things we probably need to continue looking at. We were just talking about
Debbie can have
benefits
some
and,
more ideas. for
yeah,
us.
other
Not
things
so
as
costly,
well.
probably.
And
So,
then that too would get the chief up to the 15,912.
And Jerry has a
It
question.
would, yeah. I do have a question. I kind of need direction here. So are you still wanting the memo to go to the full council, or are you just wanting the new salary ordinance and then take away the option of the 6.45 out of my memo and move forward with the Sumner version?
I'm okay with the summer version. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You guys are good with that?
Yeah,
So,
okay.
yeah, I think
Okay.
this was summer version.
Good.
Okay, perfect. Then I will take the 645 out of the memo and we'll present the ordinance with the memo on the other part.
And I just want to make sure I'm clear. We are moving forward with both the contract with the chief and the Sumner deal, or just
No,
the
we
one?
wouldn't need,
No.
if we're doing the summer, we don't need the
Okay.
Contract.
Okay. You're okay.
Yeah.
and all.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good.
Good. Okay.
Good job, Sherry.
All right.
With that.
Well, may I be excused?
You are. Good job, Mayor. Yeah.
All right. So we're good with all that then? Any open discussion?
Utility
Yeah.
rate.
Oh,
Yeah, so we were going to talk about utility rates. I was just kind of going to give you a rundown of the next steps as I see them. And then what we need from you guys is to have a discussion of what you want that rate structure to look like. I know some of you have the message from Councilmember Swatman, so you have some of his information. My staff also has some ideas, so I'll talk about those. Next steps, basically, I see we have the FCS discussion next week with the vendor, and they will come to the full council to talk about different options and hear the council's comments about what direction we want to go. Step 2 would be this Thursday, the mayor, John, and I have a discussion about ARPA money, and then we'll bring that forward to the council for discussion and for them to select which projects go forward for ARPA. If some of them are utility projects, they'll no longer be funded by rates, and that's an important part of the FCS study. After that, the council approves the FCS to begin the rate study. We'll bring a contract forward once they get that, once they get the guidance. June or July, August-ish, I hope that the FCS study would be finalized. and then they would do a presentation to council based upon the guidance, and then after that, approval of the rate study, hopefully for beginning of 2023. Like I said, I think some of you have seen what Swatman's comments were. Some of my staff comments, they feel that they would like to eliminate the volumetric. I know some of the council feels the same way and come up with a different structure, and then increase the sewer base fees for commercial accounts, because right now commercial and residential pay the same.
Yeah, which is wrong. I agree with both those comments, Sherry.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, I agree, man.
Increase the sewer for commercial?
Commercial.
Or
Commercial.
Commercial
or
only.
likely used less than residential?
What's that?
Is commercial used less in sewer than residential?
Well, the base fee. My staff was hoping, let's see, she said, yeah, increase sewer base fees for commercial accounts. Currently, commercial and residential pay the same monthly fee. So she was wanting to increase the commercial side of that, which would reduce the residential side.
I agree with reducing. I just don't, how do you justify increasing the cost on a mini storage unit that has one guy there?
Yeah, council discussion, right? I'm just giving you what their hope, their wish list is.
Well, businesses can afford a little bit more, but what we have to do to help maintain them from the outside, residential can't afford it. That's usually, in my mind, usually the businesses pay a little bit more for things within the city.
Well,
They have to lower
yeah.
the rate somehow.
No, I get that. It's hard to see a place that Lowe's paying more and
What's the monthly fee for
Yeah.
sewer? What's the minimum charge?
Oh, off the top of my head, I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
if it's the same, it's $85, something like that.
That sounds about right. Yeah,
That sounds right.
10 CFF.
Plus your volumetric.
Yeah.
Count to 20.
That sounds right. 85.40.
Well,
Cap
yeah,
to 10 per month.
Yeah.
20.
yeah, 10,
Yeah.
20 over.
I guess in that case, I have no problem with it. I just, we just have to justify it.
We're just having the challenges to make sure sewer water is affordable for the people.
Oh yeah, no
You know,
doubt. I
we're
want
trying
to
to
lower.
find some-
I want to lower that.
Because I don't
for
want
sure.
to have to go back down and say, okay, we're going to start cutting their projects back.
Yeah.
I discussed this
Oh,
when you and I first,
yeah.
I'm way back when.
Tired of kicking the can.
Yeah.
The only thing
Yeah,
I
so
would-
basically what I'm hoping, oh, sorry.
Sorry, Sherry, just real quick, the only thing I wanted to mention on top of that is when we're talking sewer, we have to remember that we're also dealing with an agreement with. So we have to make sure that we have that obligation covered as well. I think the path that we're talking about is a really good one. I just want to make sure that we don't, and FCS is really great, we don't short ourselves.
Yeah. No. So kind of what I was talking to Councilmember Swatman about is, well, and that was his comment to me. He goes, I want to make our rates kind of the same as everybody. I said, that's not going to happen. I said, if you change your structure, you still need $1 million, you still need $1 million. It's just going to change who's paying that million, right? And that's what FCS is going to do. But FCS is going to need to hear from you guys, and you can let the other council members know for next week. What are your biggest concerns about our current structure, not the rates themselves? Because once we figure out what we want our structure to look like, then FCS can do the study and say, this is how much the rates will change and where they're going to sit now. So if commercial's going up, residential might go down a little bit. But because you're also wanting to lower low income, which we don't have that opportunity right now for renters, then, your residential people are going to go back up, so FCS will make that magic work once they figure out what number and what structure you want. But they can't do any of that without knowing how you want it to look. Do you want the tiers in the summer? Do you want, the low income part? That's what they're wanting to talk about.
So to answer your question, Tom, Sumner charges $57.19 per month
in 21, so it's 58.90.
Oh, okay. With a consumption charge of 843, and that was 21. So that's probably gone up just a hair versus our $85.
89.88, and then we have no volumetric cap on commercial.
Okay. Oh, okay. Whereas it's 10 on residential.
10 on residential.
And then, and these are 2021 numbers, but
Right.
Puyallup, their volumetric is 1 to 10, 11 to 24, and 24 plus. They don't have a summer or winter rate. Buckley is 2 to 7, 7.01 to 15, and over 15, and they do have winter and summer rates. Enumclaw is 0 to 8, 8 to 20, and then over 20. University Place is on Homa Water. Edgewood is 0 to 16, 17 to 30, and over 31, and they don't have winter rates. Lakewood 0 to 8, 8 to 20, and 20 plus. Covington's 2 to 8, 9 to 14. So I mean, there is no standard for
All over the place, yeah.
any of that.
And it doesn't look like Sumner has volumetric caps either for single family.
Okay. I mean, if we're discussing it, I'd like to look at getting rid of winter, summer rates, and maybe changing our cap at maybe 12. I mean, would you be able to at some point look and see what the average consumer is using? I know it's probably but
yeah, I can certainly get that. I know there's some information that we're trying to get from our vendor that they don't currently supply. So that would really help them out. So we're trying to get some more information, but yeah, I can get that for you.
And so right now, or at least 2021, our summer rates for over 31 CCFs was over $7, and I think it's over $10 outside of city limits.
Correct.
Yeah.
Different rates for county
Yeah.
customers versus city limits.
I mean, for $883 gallons for $7, you know, it seems reasonable, but once you start adding all that up, it jumps pretty quickly.
Something to consider too is that tiered structure was originally set up, an increasing block rate structure set up as a conservation measure.
Right.
You know, the whole idea is the
out
more
way
you
back when.
use, the more you pay. And I only throw that out there as a way to identify a philosophical difference that may need to be talked about with the council is how much does conservation weigh into your concerns about where the rate is set up. I agree, there's room to work on the tiers, and that works, no doubt about it. But for a long time, that's also been the philosophy here, is that comprehensive planning efforts, it is something we've identified as a goal, unity. And so, again, just something to consider.
Well, how often we used to come up from a water than what we're required to do?
It varies. I mean, and really it comes down to how
That's
hot a year is
expensive,
it
really,
been, you know, because it's in summer when we will draw on them the most.
Right.
2015, we spent over $1 million. Last year, I don't think we expended our 175,000, 150, 175, something like that. So it really varies.
I remember a couple of years ago, we had a warm summer, and we were getting every day. I think we were getting an idea of where we were with peaking water storage and all that kind of stuff. And I don't remember seeing anything last year, even though we had like the hottest day and all that kind of stuff. But I'm guessing that's because there was no issue. It was good.
Yeah.
If we're good all the we're not good all the time, right? There's always an issue somewhere, but. I might be okay with getting rid of the idea of the whole conservation thing because I don't know that it's really helping us. I don't know though. I don't.
Well, I think I would just think about just putting the signs out to make people think about in the hot day in the summer and stuff.
Yeah.
And that is something that can be done.
We haven't really done that for a while.
There's a philosophical thing there. Dave Siak, when he was here, was really fond of telling the story that in 2015, I think the decision was made without notifying the mayor at that time that those signs were going to go out, and it actually created a little bit of necessarily want to curtail the sale of water. So there's like competing interests going on there that beside the point. Certainly, I mean, there's other things that we can do. Public education, I think that we're going to find that if we can find a way to work with our customers on the rates, they're going to be willing to work with us a little bit. And, right now it's very controversial topic. We need to bridge that gap. And I think this is the way we do.
Well, my biggest concern is, what can we do to not hurt what we have going on right now by adjusting the water and sewer that's reasonable for the residents and the businesses too combined? My sewer was up quite a bit this past month. I was surprised, but I go with the flow, but I don't know why. So that's where things, it happens to all of our residents in the city that way.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to make sure it's more steady for a lot of people.
For
Yeah.
Bonney Lake Club.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Ryan and I have talked before about coming up with the monthly billing, so we're still working towards that. Steph's working. You guys approved her to work on the Neptune contract, so she's working on that right now. I think Ryan's got some projects that would get us much closer to doing monthly billing and monthly radio reads on part of the ARPA projects. So all that's still in process. We're not dropping any of that. This is just what the rates are going to be. But, we've heard you guys. We hear that you want things more even and normalized. Ryan and I talked about the bill and somehow incorporating how much money of your bill goes straight to Sumner, just so folks know that this is not ours. It doesn't stay with us. It's going straight to Sumner. So those are all things that are still on our to-do list.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Where are we at with the video? Because the script had that dollar broken down for what goes where.
Yeah, Leslie and I had your comments, and then we had the election, and we wanted to sit down with Michael and get his action. That.
Okay.
I mean, we're pretty close to the point where we could start filming something. The mayor did indicate that he also had a goal for a video, and so I didn't know if that was something different than what we were already talking about. So as staff, I think we're kind of back where we're looking for a little bit of direction, and we just haven't had a chance to engage with the mayor yet.
Of the 10 cities that I did rate studies on, only 3 of them had winter or summer rates. So I don't know if they have different conservation issues there or none at all, or resources beyond their capacity.
Yeah.
Are we looking still for another water source?
At this time, no.
Okay.
We did work with RH2 to identify other areas within this closed basin to construct a source. Each one of those projects came back at multi-millions of dollars. And whether there's a real need to do it or not is still a question. One of the things that we should really be considering that I'd like to get to the point of being able to look at is there an opportunity to back off of our sources and just draw more water from TPU regularly? Can we offset costs somehow doing that? Don't know if we can, but something certainly one strategy
it's a good
to look at. The idea of finding another source in a closed basin that's in an area where we can benefit from it, it's going to cost a lot. I just don't believe it's.
What was the reasoning for the Reed property at that point?
For a water source.
Well, I know, but I mean, what was different then than now?
Was a well or existing well there already?
Yeah, I mean, there was an existing well that it wasn't producing a lot, and we just presume RH2 did the study, and they thought there was more water
Makes
there.
sense to drill it there.
Because we went down a couple 300 feet.
Went all the way to bedrock. I believe
Yeah.
they test well went all the way down to 1,000 or more feet to bedrock, and did not produce anything that was viable for a municipal.
Yeah.
That was here then.
Yeah, it was actually pretty.
Yeah.
I was just curious what was driving us to do it then.
Well, so it was the Cascade Water Alliance agreement that we had so many years to look inside this closed basin. This was a property that, had a well on it, again, was producing, not to the amount that we serviced. So we opted to buy it.
Oh, okay. So this was just ticking off a box, not necessarily needing the source at the time.
Well, it was checking off a box in that we had that time limit under the city agreement with CWA in order to which to perfect a right.
Oh,
So
okay.
the thought was if we acquired the property, hopefully we could find water, perfect the right, and then we'd already.
And that arrangement still stands. That deal sunsets in 2030. So there is
Oh, okay.
still an opportunity, but the costs are just getting more. So if it would benefit the council at all, I've spent a lot of time studying Four Cities Agreement stuff. If you ever think there's an opportunity to want to talk about that.
Well, we took that study, the RH2 study to CDC that showed the 3 or 4 options. And as Ryan said, I mean, it was lift stations, multiple miles of pipe, added infrastructure, yet alone even finding the property.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I had my taxes done today, and all she did was talk about water rates. Focus on what you're doing.
I'll do your taxes and not talk about water rates.
Oh, cool, thank you.
So this is on February 15th, correct, Gary?
Yes.
February 15th.
Yeah. Thank you. Any
Thank
other
you, Sherry.
open
No.
discussion?
I don't think so. Looking at me like I told you something.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what if
You might got something in your mind, so there's nothing on my mind. You take it, Justin.
my mind's tired.
6:30 tonight?
Yeah.
Any bets?
It could be, right?
We'll have a 6:30 tonight.
Oh, we will have a 6:30.
I can help keep Jason contained.
Yes.
I had a long talk this afternoon. We'll see what happens.
Are we
All right.
John?
Yeah.
done recording?
Thank you.
Bye. See you in a few.
No matter what we do, I have a long meeting.